versus Eckhart Tolle. And I'm just gonna put the camera over here. Uh, Sorry. Let's make it work. Sorry. Sorry, 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 sorry. Hold on. Okay, I think we're good now. So, awareness. So my awakening was through Mooji, not Eckhart Tolle, or the awakening, because there's no I. It's literally awareness awakening to awareness, where there's no I. You cannot say I was awakened, but it's kind of true because the self, the true self, cannot awaken because it's already awakened. The true self is already awakened. So what is actually awakening? It's the conditioned self is awakening to the awareness, you could say. It's not awareness is awakening to awareness. It's the conditioned self is awakening to the truth of the true self. Actually, it's interesting to try to put words to it. I remember exactly the moment where the awakening was watching Mooji. Because Mooji speaks to the infinite consciousness you are. So it is literally, he's not speaking to the mind. He's not speaking to the mind. He's speaking to the deeper self. It's like a level, a frequency lower, you could say almost. Very interesting. Eckhart Tolle, on the other hand, he sometimes talks about, not always, but he talks about manifesting. Sometimes he talks about healing the body sporadically. He talks about being present, the power of now being fully present. It is almost like a little bit of a different teaching. It is. The one is kind of non-duality and Advaita Vedanta, and Eckhart Tolle is more like pure presence of the now, which of course the source is the same of both, but just like I am the source of that, just like you are the source of that. It's interesting also how many people read The Power of Now, and how many people, like, if you go into someone who's only a little bit spiritually interested and you go through their bookshelf, there's always Power of Now. I remember I was in France. I was near I rented a room for a week, and the woman there was very nice. She was in her last month of having a child, and she was in her ninth month, and she showed me the books that she has there, and she had Power of Now there. And I didn't read it, or didn't need to read it, but there was a woman with me that I did a soul plan reading with, and I gave it to her. I said, "You should read Power of Now." And then she started, based on my recommendations, she started reading it because she was very much in her mind, in the past, and unhappy in a way. The result of awakening, be it through Eckhart Tolle or Mooji, is both always the same. It's like pure silence, pure awareness. You're just aware of the self. And the more aware you're of the true self, the more you just stop thinking. There's no thinking, or there's much less thinking, or thinking just goes away. And even if there's thought, the thought doesn't really pull you in. It just comes and goes. Hi, Jamil. And let me put on the light here. Let's put on a light in my camper van. I can do this light. No, I don't want to use up the battery. So let's put this light on. Hi, lovely Mishra. Welcome. It's interesting that the more you let go, and the more you let life flow, and the more you listen to your heart chakra, it's kind of like everything finds its space and its moment. And like the synchronicity with the guy yesterday, I don't know if I told you the story here, but just by coincidence, I met this guy here who's a few years older than me, and his father was hitting him. There was a big violence against him, and we started doing a session, energy healing session, right here on the parking space, and he started crying, and he was slouching. His energy was bad, and after the session, he was a changed man. And then he came today to give me a couple of presents as a kind of like a thank you, and he was completely changed. He stood taller, he was open, his heart chakra was open, and I was talking a little bit to him about awakening. I don't do very strong awakening satsangs with people when I meet them by chance. It's not like I'm telling them, well, if you're saying I am this, I am that, I don't ask them, who is this I? Because it's but I tell them, don't worry about the past, don't worry about the future, because beingness is always the same. So whatever you do or don't do, or whatever happens or doesn't happen, beingness is always the same. So I say things like that, and I just let it be the fruit of. I just I just sow like a tiny, tiny, tiny seed, and I let the universe do the rest. And I don't feel I need to push anyone anywhere. It's just if it happens, it happens. And and I think that Eckhart Tolle and Mooji see it the same way. Mooji definitely, he says like he picks only the ripe fruit in that sense. People who come to him because they want to have this true liberation. And Eckhart Tolle, you know, but there are some very big differences. Eckhart Tolle doesn't do free sessions, whereas Mooji very often does or has done. I don't know how it's now. So there is a there are differences, and I believe for myself, in terms of non-duality and Advaita Vedanta, I think that Muji is closer to being a master than Eckhart Tolle. That's my honest assessment, because Muji never talks about manifesting or healing the body, because you don't need to manifest or heal the body if you truly, truly, truly recognize that you are the infinite self. Somewhere near you agree, yes. But I'm not saying I reached this like state of awakening or enlightenment, or that it's has happened in that strength, despite also being a fan of Eckhart. Yes. I mean, it's nice to listen to him, and it's I find it always funny. I find it super funny when in his audiobooks, when there's this long, or his talks, there's this long space of silence, and you can notice your mind waiting for the next sentence, and then you let it go, and then you're like, okay, it's just silence. It's funny sometimes. Whereas Muji, always almost no wait, that's not correct. Muji has like these moments where he purposefully with people just sits in silence. It's interesting that the whole idea of it's also interesting you love him. Very good, very good. It's interesting how they have different approaches in the sense that Muji has a sangha in Monte Sahaja in the south of Portugal, and people live with him. He lives with the people, and they do regular satsangs. Whereas Gangamira, the widow of Papaji, is also down there in Algesur, in Portugal, but she lives separately. She has her own family life. She has children and grandchildren, and she does twice a week satsangs there with people. I went twice there. Stayed a week, and but it's at a rented or like a it's not rented, but it's a friend of theirs gives their space to do it there, and so everybody has a different approach. And Eckhart Tolle, he lives basically on his own with his wife, and then he does like professionally organized kind of satsangs, you could say, in auditoriums and stuff like that. Everybody has a little bit different approach. My approach to life and to all of this is totally different. My approach is that I let go of everything, even the idea of being a non-duality teacher, even the idea of suppressing thoughts or whatever, everything. I just let go of everything and let everything be completely spontaneous without any involvement or with as much little involvement whatsoever. Because the moment I'm like, okay, let's make only non-duality videos, it doesn't feel right to me. It feels like controlled. So I like the idea of not controlling anything and letting everything completely flow. Taoism, I read a book about Taoism, but I'm not super familiar with it. This is mostly about non-duality and Advaita Vedanta, comparing Mooji and Eckhart Tolle. By the way, I'm not saying, you should avoid one or the other. Uh, I'm just saying that, there are some differences. I'm just pointing them out. You make your own choice. Ah, exactly what you're talking about. Ah, okay. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not an expert on theology, religions. If you ask me something about Buddhism, Taoism, Hinduism, I really can't tell you that much. Spiritual miracle lyrical. Spiritual miracle lyrical. I like that. There's one thing that's for me is very hard to get kind of rid of. I'm not trying to get rid of it really, but that kind of sticks and just doesn't want to go away. Is the idea of finding the right women or being attracted to women, being attractive to women, and then eventually starting a family. That's something that's always lingering, but I also understand that it's not something to get rid of. It's more like to recognize that I'm not that which is seeking that. And that's the thing. You never try to control or get rid of something. It's always about reflecting is, are you that which is being observed, or are you the unchanging observer, the uninterested observer? I was thinking while talking to a colleague, I told him, how would the world look like if we didn't have more than one voice in our head? And he kind of didn't understand, but think about it would be interesting if there was no voice in your head. If there were literally absolutely no thoughts at all, what kind of world would we have? I think we would just live and die, just like animals. Just live and die. We would a lot of people would die in the winter. Mooji versus Teal Swan. That's also a possibility. But that's a major difference. But it's a really good video idea. It's a really good video idea, my dear moderator. My dear unknown moderator. A stranger moderator. Etienne, you must be French. I'm pretty sure you're French, Etienne. Um, What's Teal Swan's weakness? Oh, that's a good question. I have an answer. Her weakness is her tremendous arrogance. And and not being awakened yet. Teal Swan is tremendously arrogant. Yes. But I remember there was a story where it said Mooji was starting to get arrogant, but he noticed that he got humbled by God, so to speak, and then he kind of corrected himself again, kind of. Yes. Oh my God, Etienne, you are a genius. Truly, she's trying to power grab and that's her goal. She wants to be the Teal Swan. I think she even said it in the documentary in the about her toxicity. She's the girl said it. She's complete megalomaniac. She wants to be the largest spiritual teacher that ever existed, like I don't know, like Jesus or whatever. And uh that's so it's fantastic analysis and it's basically a power grab over men because she's been so and it's also evident in many things that she says because she sometimes says like what did she say against men? I don't remember exactly this phrase, but she said something against men. mm, I would have to remember exactly, but yeah, I'm 100% sure. It's very very obvious. It's kind of like it's her way of controlling the narrative so she doesn't have to fall into trauma again. I think the voices you hear is like a projection system for you and your surroundings. If you would follow the first instinct, it would be a mad place. Absolutely. If you would follow only your instincts, it would be absolutely crazy. I only just found out about her from your channel. She gives me a very look at me vibe. Totally, totally agree. Absolutely. And you will notice something about me is that the true authentic teachers I will rarely or almost never knock. But when they're fake, like Teal Swan or what's his name? Uh the famous guy, the Indian guy with the thick glasses. I always forget him. Deepak Chopra, ultra fake. Ultra fake. But I will never purposefully knock like a Mooji or Eckhart Tolle in their teachings because it's absolutely true. She needs to be humbled. I think it will happen by itself because if you power grab, and you are not fully aware of what you're doing, you're gonna fall down. The ego is gonna catch her somewhere. It just happens by itself. You don't need to even do anything. I just find it horrible that so many people fall for her stuff. It's a little bit like with Andrew Tate or Sadhya psychology. They get so much attention and people believe all of that stuff just because it's being said in a powerful way. Michael Singer, I've heard a couple of times from him. I don't remember. I don't think he's a spiritually, but he has a very good life lessons. I don't remember Michael Singer. I would have to look him up. I think I know who you're talking about, but I will have to look it up later. So I think for today I'll completely shut off. Well, maybe we'll make a Teal Swan Mooji comparison, and then we go to sleep, or I'll go to sleep. Um, no, we'll do Mooji Teal Swan tomorrow. We'll do Mooji Teal Swan tomorrow, and today I go very early to bed. I want to do some meditation. I want to let go, and I want to feel into my heart chakra, listen to my heart chakra. And when I'm streaming, I can't do that, of course. And I need to protect my throat a little bit. A friend of mine is getting mad at me for bringing up Andrew Tate and his hypocrisies. Yeah, I can imagine. Well, Andrew Tate has a mix of things. Some things he says are so really true, but he's operating on the mode of survival. He's still on the mode of operating survival. He's self-optimizing his life to be the absolute top G that ever existed, but he doesn't realize that it's a dead end road. It's it's an interesting road for sure, interesting than most other roads, but it's a dead end nonetheless. And eventually he'll figure it out. But but then you have the male ego kicking in, where it's like, well, at least he has children. I don't even have children, so I'm like, maybe he's doing something right, and I'm doing something wrong. But I think it has to do also with soul plan. You can compare soul plans. So it's possible that, it's just not my soul plan to go in this direction. And his soul plan, it fully is. It's possible. He's reached his fame level and doesn't want to lose that. I don't think no, I don't think that's his problem. I don't think he would mind if he wasn't that famous anymore. Uh, I think he's pretty happy with his life in a way. I think so at the moment. Some things that he says are true, but what do you say? But he says from the wrong place, intention, energy. Yes, possible. Yes, yes. I already found a good role models before him, so it's crazy how many guys follow you and get let down. That trap. Yes, 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 that's true. Um, you know, to finish the stream, I think literally if you want to follow the highest teaching ever, you have to follow the Ramana teaching. There's no other way. That's literally the highest teaching. There is no other higher teaching than the Ramana teaching because it literally separates the truth from the falsehood. Osho wasn't really that awakened. He didn't talk that much about non-duality sometimes, but Muji always talks about non-duality. It's like me. I know I'm not a master of Advaita. I'm not a Jnani in the way that you would expect an absolute master of non-duality to be. That means I always say like the analogy of Obelix from Asterix and Obelix falling into the the thing, the magic potion. Um, if you've fallen completely into the magic potion, yes, you become a non-duality master. But if you just taste a little bit of it, it comes back and and not haunts you. That's the wrong word. It comes back and adjusts you again to the true self. But it's not like you're always aware of awareness all the time because you've fallen into the potion. So, and Ramana was like Obelix. He fell into the potion very early on, and it completely changed everything. And I feel, I mean, I could be wrong, because I haven't really tried that much, but and it's a question of soul plan. What the question is, can you really become like Ramana or be like Ramana just by sitting in silence? I don't know. Maybe. Yes, Ramana Maharshi. He was the teacher of Papaji, who was the teacher of Mooji. Transcendental meditation. I don't know much about transcendental meditation, to be honest. So I gotta take a break now. and I wish you a super nice rest of the day. I'm feeling really good. Like, spiritually speaking, I'm feeling fantastic. Body wise, I'm like, oh, I want to go to sleep. And I feel almost like getting sick. Okay, so see you soon. Thank you everybody for being here. I love this talk. Should do more often.